Hi, my name is Tobias, and this is Miss Jenny Petty. Today I'm going to be telling you about the Colosseum and who built it and why it was built. The reason why it was built and who built it. Vespasian Flavius was the one who built it. It was built because he wanted to please people and he wanted to entertain them and give them food and a way where they wouldn't rebel. So he also wanted honor long after he died or after his reign. It was the best amphitheater ever built, and that's it. Facts. So I think some facts I would like to explain would be, it was one of the first concrete structures built, and Rome was the first people to ever use concrete to build structures or build anything with. Some other facts would be, it was an oval shape, and it was able to seat 50 to 80,000 people. Some reasons why it was used would be because it was used for sports, it was used for gladiator fights, it was used for games, it was used for killing animals that are predatory or non-predatory, and it was used for enemies, slaves, or anybody who was not for Rome, and it was also used for executions. The first reason why they would use games or Colosseum or gladiatorial fights were because of the munera, which is a religious sacrifice. It started off when someone would die, they would have people fight to the death so that bloodshed would happen. So that is why it officially started. Thank you. Some questions I would like to ask Miss Jenny would be, thank you. Some questions I would like to ask Miss Jenny would be, or some interview questions would be, how many do you think this Colosseum would be able to fit?
Well, we were in Rome this summer and we got to actually experience going through the Colosseum, and so it is an incredible structure. I would say between 50 and 80,000 people. The people didn't always stay the full length of the times of the games, so people came in and out all the time, but it is, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, it's big.
Okay, so when do you think it was built or how it was built?
Well, from what we were told when we were in Rome, it was built in 72 AD off of the backs of the slaves of the Jewish people that were stripped and taken from Jerusalem in 70 AD. In fact, what afforded them to build the Colosseum was the booty that they had stolen from not only the temple in Jerusalem, but all the people that were left in Jerusalem. That money afforded them to build the Colosseum.
Okay. Who do you think it was built by, or why do you think he built it?
I don't know who the Caesar was at the time, but I do know that it was built off of the back of a lot of the slaves that they had stripped Israel from. A lot of those people were the people that built it. It was built in 8 years, which was a monumental feat at that time. It's for the structure and the way it was built, it's pretty amazing. But whom else they used to build it, I don't know.
Alright. Well, the person who built it was Vespasian. I don't know his last name at the moment. But his son, Titus, was the person who finished it, and he was the one who officially had the Colosseum used. Oh. So, what do you think it was built out of, or what was it built out of?
The structure was built out of concrete, but what's interesting is that there are pegs that forged the columns together, and now those pegs are completely have been removed because they were stripped. The whole Colosseum was stripped of those pegs in order for them to take the metal that was in those pegs that they used. So you can see these holes within the structure, and obviously the structure has forged together, otherwise it would crumble.
Right. Okay. So it was also built out of sand and limestone, and it was marble due for seats and for stairs. But it was used for gladiatorial games, like I said earlier, sports, and many other things. Maybe what did they tell you there that it was used for?
The games lasted several weeks. If the different sections within the Colosseum would get bored, they would bring out an animal, or they would bring out two separate gladiators or something. So it was not so much a middle thing as much as it was sectional things. And so they had underneath the floor that was all sand, so that the blood would absorb and the smell and all that stuff, and they would be able to cover it. The structure itself, underneath, there were all of these tunnels and ways for the gladiators to be down there and all the animals that they would bring up. But it just depended on the area. It depended on what was going on. They had pictures of people actually cooking food in the stands. So it was definitely something that lasted several weeks, and it was something that they thoroughly enjoyed. But they said there that there was no one martyred in the Colosseum, which I personally do not believe, but that's what they told us.
Alright, so when you first saw the Colosseum, or when you first were inside the Colosseum, what was your first thought or beginning thought about it?
Just, wow, impressive, huge, hard to believe that something this big was built in 8 years. Initially, you're overwhelmed by, I guess, the beauty of this structure. And then as you're in the structure, and as you are walking through the structure and you're hearing about what happened in the structure, it starts to change to a somber feeling and more of a this making me sick feeling, because you realize what actually transpired in there. There was a lot of death, there was a lot of suffering, there was a lot of just evil and just brutality beyond anything that we can understand or even comprehend today.
Alright, so like right before you left, what was your last thought then?
I want to get out of here.
Alright, thank you guys. That was my report on the Colosseum. Thank you very much, and I hope you guys have a good day. Bye-bye.